Well, hello there. Today we're going to tell you about one of the wisest men that I ever knew. He put some truth on me one day that I did not like. His name was olde. We called him Papa. And that's the way we thought of him, and we didn't want to hear nothing else about it. And that's the way he thought of us ogle brats, as this another set of his grandyoungins. And he didn't want to hear nothing about it either. Wiser men I have seldom known in this life. Let me give you an example. One day, me and my buddy Buck was going to go bird hunting, right? We had Daisy BB guns, and we thought we was cock of the rock, and we go running out his front door, and we're arguing about who gets to fire the first shot at the first bird. There's a cardinal sitting on the fence right up the way there. And I think I remember Buck saying, it's my turn to shoot first, but before he could get his gun even drawn, I jumped out in front of him. I drew down and I had the luckiest shot in the history of BB guns. I dropped that little cardinal right there where it was. It didn't try to flutter or anything. Neighbor, it just fell. Boy, I was excited. And the first thought in my head, let me show Papa what I did. Now, he just lived next door to his daughter Betty and Billy Joe, his son-in-law. And so we went running down there, and I had to show him, look what I got. Look what I got. He just looked at it and said, yeah, that's a pretty one. And he said, can I ask you a question? I said, sure. He said, did you find the nest before you shot this? Have you seen the nest that this bird had built? I said, no, I didn't look for no nest. He said, it's pretty sad. Because the babies in that nest, they're going to die now because this mama ain't never coming home again. A snake might get them. Another bird might just boot the eggs out and take over the nest for itself. Those babies are going to die because mama's gone. He had me crying almost. You know what? Me and the boy I used to be have talked about this a lot of times over the years. I cannot remember another bird I ever shot at after that day. Now, there was another time. Fast forward now. We go back a couple of decades now after that day. And Papa taught me another lesson. I was on the outs with my father. I mean, bad. I just, I was to the point where I was staying awake at night trying to think of some way that I could do something that he couldn't do anything about. And I don't know how the idea came to my head. Maybe somebody told me I could do it. I don't remember, but I do remember this. My name is Hubert Bewing Ogle Jr. And I decided one day I didn't want to be a junior no more. I could change my name. I found out you could do that legally. And back in that day, and we're going back 40 years or more, and it would have cost me about $85. I had nothing left to do but go up to the courthouse, and I don't even remember what I was going to change my name to. My dear mother tried to talk me out of it. And I said, Mother, I love you. You know I love you. I hear what you're saying, but he's got to understand that he don't control me, and I can do some things that he can't do nothing about. And how was I supposed to know that she went over to Papa's house where she had coffee all the time, solved all the world's problems with him and Mama? And one day I come home from the cotton mill, and there's Mama saying, Papa DeLoach wants to talk to you when you got a minute. He ain't in no hurry. He just wants to talk to you. I said, what in the world is he going to talk to me about, Mama? And her regular Mama way, she said, go over and find out. So this was a big deal to me. If Papa wouldn't talk to me, I wanted to talk to him. So after work the next day, before I even went home, I went right by their house on the way home anyways, and I went into the house there. And I found Mama in the kitchen, and I said, Mama, I hear tell Papa wants to talk to me. I heard him call me from the living room. Yeah, come on in here, let's talk a spell. Now, if you picture him, he's dressed in blue jeans. He's got a light blue denim work shirt on. He's got his legs crossed like this right here, and he's got that pipe up kind of like this. And he's either puffing or pausing, his hands out like this. He's a wiry type of guy, about 6'1". His hair is white on his back and his side, just a little bit of hair in the front, mostly bald. The very picture of wisdom, right? So I sat down and we small talked for a minute, and he said, Hugh, I hear tell you you're fixing to change your name. And all of a sudden, I done been ambushed. So I went into my best plea. I said, Papa, look, you know, Daddy did this, and he said this. He did this to me in front of my friends. He did this, and I began to just name every sin Daddy ever committed. And Papa, he just sat there and he said, yeah, I remember that. I don't know about that. And he just for about 10 minutes, I just ranted, named every sin Daddy ever committed. And when I got done, he said, Hugh, I hear what you're saying. I agree with a good bit of it. Some of it I don't. But I hear what you're saying. He said, my concern is I think you're looking for a permanent solution to a temporary problem. I said, temporary problem? Papa, you everything I said, you heard everything I said. How can you say that? He said, well, let's do it like this. He said, 20 years from now, you may not feel the same way you feel right now. But you're going to have a couple of problems. Number one, you're going to have a wife and kids by then. Now, just suppose you want to mend fences with your daddy. You got to tell your wife and your kids that your name that they've known you by is not your name. You're going to have to explain all that to them. Your bigger problem is when you change your name and it becomes known, a wall is going to come up between you and your father that you will have too much pride to tear down. And he'll say it's your wall, not his, and he won't tear it down. And your kids will never know their grandfather the way they deserve to know him. He said, I just think before you do this, you need to pray about it. Neighbor, to myself, I would never say this to Papa. I said, pray. You want me to pray? I'll give you a prayer. And I left his house that day so mad I could bite a 10-penny nail into. You know what? The mills went on 7 days. Time passed, and I just never got up to that courthouse. And over time, my relationship with my father healed. Fast forward now, 30 years, I'm standing next to a casket. Spent the day with my dad. People thought I was nuts, but I spent the day with him. The day that we had his homegoing service. As I stood there by myself, just me and that old clay shell Daddy used to live in my thoughts. And I went back to that day when Papa essentially taught me how to change my name. My daddy, when he left this world, was one of the best friends I ever had. I could go to him with anything, anytime, and get a fair answer. As I stood there that day in that funeral home, I literally looked up. I said, Papa, thank you. So he'd been in heaven for years by then. But I thanked him out loud for keeping me from making the stupidest decision I would have ever made. Now, what about you, neighbor? You about to make a critical decision in your life? If you're making that decision in anger, you need to put it off. If you're making that decision based on circumstance, you need to put it off. And you know what? Papa was right. Before you do anything, you need to pray. You need to have peace in your heart, not your head. Have peace in your heart, your head will come around. Otherwise, you're fixing to mess up. I hope that do something for you. Do me a favor, won't you? Hit the like button. Subscribe to our little old channel here if you like what we're doing. Leave a comment. This is not an easy subject we just addressed right here. Feel free to tell me your story in the comments. And we'll arrange to talk if you want to. Other than that, you have a great day. I love you. Appreciate everybody that's followed us. Like I said before, we're just getting started. Let me hear from you real soon. You have a great day. Bye-bye. We love you.